Hello. How you folks doing?
Yes. Thanks for staying tuned in and coming back or watching or whatever. All the stuff you've been doing today has been filled with a lot of entertainment today. That is so cool. So it's a really joy to be here today, celebrating Earth Day 2020.
Yeah, in Tompkins County.
In Tompkins County. Yes, most definitely.
All right. We are on hour number 5
yes.
of this 28-hour Earth Day marathon. Coming up next is Paul Speight from New Roots, and he'll have a little video to show you. Paul?
Hello, folks. Happy Earth Day. I'm going to start that video right now. Thank you so much.
Sharing with you our Youth Ecosystem Restoration Project, which is led by myself, Joachim Haltom, who's the Dean of Conduct and Culture, Gabe Caraher, who's a local ecologist and artist, Tina Nelson-Hodges, our principal and founder, Carlos Perez in our accounting department, and countless students and other faculty and staff at New Roots Charter School. So what is it? Well, in its current form, it's a student and teacher-led project designed to improve and enhance and protect the quality of water in Cayuga Lake's south end. So as you can see in this picture, we have a number of ecological sites that we're working on. We have the south end of Cayuga Lake at Stewart Park. We have some area of forest along the inlet, and then we have some areas throughout the inlet that emerge out into the city a little bit. And these are basically sites that are work sites for students as well as sites for learning for teachers and students as well. So thanks to a grant awarded to us from the Department of Environmental Conservation, 12 students were able to be employed over the summer to basically do this work. Here you see a picture of some of those students presenting and sharing our experiences with the mayor and earning his support for that project. So I mentioned that this area all along the south end of Cayuga Lake is both a work site for those students in our summer employment program, and it's also a learning site for students and teachers in our school. But what are we actually doing? Well, some of the work, not all of it, but some, incorporates really two main methods. One is the scientific method. So students are collecting data on the chemical health of our watershed. They're analyzing data from the Community Science Institute and the EPA. And they're doing their own work really to ask questions and to design experiments, to collect evidence and make claims. We're also implementing traditional ecological knowledge. So a big part of this project from the start was that we wanted to be heavily influenced by the ecological practices of the Haudenosaunee, specifically the Cayugas. And so we are learning from them as we go. The main method that you'll see implemented and illustrated in a lot of these slides is that of this process of bioremediation. Okay, this idea that rather than relying on chemicals or industrial methods of cleaning the water and enhancing its quality, we're really using the Earth's natural healing methods. So plant species that are bioremediators, working with the natural flow of the landscape to accomplish our goals. To get a little bit more specific, an example is the city of Arcata, California. They use basically enhancement marshes, which are essentially wetlands, okay, with native plant species and animal species there, as a secondary treatment for the wastewater. Arcata is roughly the size of Ithaca when Cornell and Ithaca College are not in session. And they're able to do a lot of treatment of their wastewater by using natural bioremediation methods. And I'll be talking more specifically about them because these methods are things that students have researched and come up with on their own, largely. And also to speak a little bit to the traditional ecological knowledge, a bit more in detail, as you may know, before the city of Ithaca was built, the area that is now Stewart Park used to be a wetland, kind of like what you see in the picture on the right, except of course much more extensive. And that wetland was a place where the Cayuga could go to gather medicines. And it was also a place where the water would naturally be purified as it fell on the surrounding hillsides and made its way into that marsh before it got out into the lake. So in this image, you can see a pair of students from last summer's summer employment project planting cattail. Cattail is a species that our students discovered are bioremediators for phosphorus. Okay, they're able to absorb phosphorus from the water and store it in their system. The summer project also took students out in canoes to clean up trash, to perform water tests, and to do more bioremediator planting and ecosystem restoration. These lands also serve as learning sites for students. So in this picture on the right and on the left, you see my science class out with the Cayuga Bird Club to learn about bird migration patterns and the impact of climate change on those patterns. And so one of the tasks we're doing with the Cayuga Bird Club is to plant trees that will bring back some of the insects that migratory birds feed on as they're passing through and as they settle here. And the hope is to enhance their numbers and their diversity. Over here, you see some students learning bird identification. Students also perform chemical tests and biological tests on the water quality at these sites. And you can see that in these two pictures as well. After our summer work, some students got curious and they wanted to know, hey, are these cattails actually doing what we think they're doing? And so they decided to investigate a little further. They ended up doing a research project. And you can see the question here is, do cattails actually filter out pollutants in the water? To give a general overview, they essentially sampled.
Well, folks, if you want to learn more, you can check the website for later. I won't give all the details so I don't go over time. Thanks so very much for the opportunity. Much appreciation and happy Earth Day.
Yes, thank you, Paul. We appreciate that. And folks, make sure you check out the video. I think it's probably someplace on New Roots website. Up next, we have Aaron Martiel from Ithaca Nature for All with the video. Ithaca Nature for All is dedicated to bringing equitable nature access to all Ithaca City residents. In pursuit of designation as a biophilic city, I'm glad I said that right, Ithaca Nature for All seeks input from every Ithaca City neighborhood to ensure that the abundant benefits of nature are available to all. So please email your ideas to ithacanatureforall@gmail.com. And now to you, Aaron Martiel.
Hi, I'm Erin Martiel, Executive Director of Ithaca Children's Garden and steering member of Ithaca Nature for All, a local group dedicated to bringing nature access to all Ithaca residents. We believe that all cities, where the majority of our planet's population live, should be full of high-quality green spaces and nature, and that access to nature should be equitable for all residents. Yet, unfortunately, that is not yet the case. The evidence shows that many physical, social, emotional, academic, and health benefits are related to spending time in nature. Currently, all people do not have access to the same amount or quality of nature, which can exacerbate existing inequities related to mental and physical health, academic performance, and more. Our group believes strongly that every Ithaca City resident deserves the right to have nature and its many benefits, that nature is a right for all. The primary way our group wants to move toward becoming a city where high-quality nature access is truly available to all is by becoming a designated biophilic city. A biophilic city is defined as a city of abundant nature where residents, young and old, have rich daily contact with the natural environment no matter where they reside, where larger natural areas and deeper natural experiences are an easy walk, bike, or transit ride away, and where the urban environment allows for and fosters connections with diverse flora and fauna. In biophilic cities, residents recognize, respect, are curious about, and actively care for nature around them, and they spend extensive time outside learning about, enjoying, and participating in the natural world. In biophilic cities, leaders and elected officials give nature and natural capital a central place in their decision-making and evaluate their planning and development decisions by the extent to which nature is restored and protected and connections with the natural environment enhanced. Leaders and residents of biophilic cities recognize that proximity to nature makes for more desirable communities and provides numerous benefits to all. A biophilic city recognizes the important role cities play in protecting and increasing biodiversity in a world where biodiversity is greatly threatened. There are many ways a city can work towards becoming a biophilic city. A city may choose to work towards increasing tree canopy cover, or planting more native species, or making sure that a park is within a 5-minute walk of every city resident. For these efforts to be meaningful, it is essential we hear from individuals in every neighborhood in the city. We aim for the city to adopt a resolution supporting Ithaca's path to become a biophilic city so that every Ithaca resident can have equitable access to the abundant benefits of nature.
All right, thank you. We want to thank Ithaca Nature for All and Aaron Martial for this great video. And coming up next, we have James Warren, Elisa Marcy, Mike Moritz for Building Bridges and the Green New Deal. They have a video, and in this video, James Warren, member of Sunrise Ithaca and the Ithaca Green New Deal outreach team, will be giving everyone an update on this exciting initiative where you can learn more and different ways to be sustainable Ithacans. Are you sustainable?
I'm trying to be.
Let's go.
Earth Day is an amazing day to celebrate all the amazing progress that we've made around the globe as humans together towards solving the climate crisis. We've come a long way with renewable energy, conserving nature, improving efficiency, but there's always room for improvement. Sometimes with these global issues, it feels like there's not a whole lot we can do here in tiny Ithaca on the world stage. But that's not true. Hopefully you've heard of this by now, but the Ithaca Green New Deal was passed last year by the Common Council with the goal of achieving carbon neutrality by 2030. That's a really ambitious goal, and it needs all of us to make it work. The city of Ithaca is a leader of climate action in the United States. And if our small town of Ithaca can change the United States, then you can help change Ithaca. There are so many choices that we make every single day as individuals that influence whether we're going to hit that goal of carbon neutrality by 2030. I'm here to talk about just a few of them and then point you to our website to learn more about what you can do as an individual. Did you know that when your food scraps go to the landfill, they decay into methane rather than carbon dioxide? That's way worse for the planet. However, if you compost your scraps instead, they won't decay into methane at all, and they'll be turned into useful soil for our local farmers. You can pick up a free compost bin and compost for free here in Tompkins County at plenty of different drop-off locations. That's a big way you can reduce your carbon impact right at home. Driving around is how most of us affect the planet on a day-to-day basis. But by cutting back on how much we drive, we can actually have a huge impact on our carbon footprint. We can do this by utilizing TCAT's robust transit network or by using a bike. If you don't have a bike, well, there's a lot of resources here in town that'll help you get set up with building your own and starting to trek around town. It's a great way to get exercise and reduce your impact on the planet. We're still in the early stages of the Ithaca Green New Deal, and we're trying to figure out what an equitable transition to a more sustainable future looks like. So as we're trying to figure out what a healthy and livable community looks like, we want to hear from you. Write into that email address so that we can find out from you how to measure equity and what equity looks like to you. To some of you, these examples may feel like no-brainers, but they're great places to start. If you want to figure out how to get involved in the equitable transition to carbon neutrality, please come check out our website. There's a link right there. It's in its early stages, but hopefully it'll continue to develop as we implement new ideas for things you can do at home and ways you can get involved in your community. Check us out.
Oh, I hope you folks have checked them out. We're going to keep it going. Next, we have Laura Branca from the Dorothy Cotton Institute.
Laura Branca is a senior fellow at the Dorothy Cotton Institute, or Dorothy Cotton Institute, DCI. She'll tell you why Dorothy Cotton Institute is celebrating Earth Day. Your donations to Dorothy Cotton Institute will help produce a documentary on the life and legacy of Dorothy Cotton. I had the pleasure of singing for her plenty of times, so this is an honor to even introduce them. Please visit www.dorothycottoninstitute.org and
GiveGab.com, campaigns, move when the spirit says move.
Yes.
And now we're going to move on to
Yes.
Laura.
Hi, everybody. It's my pleasure to celebrate Earth Day with you. And I have a few slides that I want to share with you, but thanks to the organizers. Am I unmuted? Am I good? Can you hear me? Okay. Thanks to the organizers and thanks to the fabulous MCs, Kenneth and Trece. And so I'm going to go to this screen. So hopefully you'll see it. So Dorothy Cotton was a civil rights activist, educator, and a champion of nonviolence. She was a close colleague of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and she became a long-term resident of Ithaca. We carry on her civil rights legacy and also focus on the intersecting framework of global human rights. So our vision is a full realization of a just and peaceful beloved community in which all people understand, respect, protect, and exercise our full human rights. We offer workshops on human rights education and community engagement for social change. And as Dorothy used to say, all people have a right to know our rights and to not accept victimhood and to build a sustainable community together. So we're celebrating Earth Day by honoring the rights of Mother Earth. The Universal Declaration of the Rights of Mother Earth was drafted in 2010 at an international conference in Bolivia, and we're hopeful that it'll be adopted by the UN General Assembly one of these days, hopefully a day soon. So here are some words from the preamble to the declaration. We, the people and nations of Earth, are all part of Mother Earth, an indivisible living community of interdependent beings with a common destiny. Earth is the source of our life and provides everything we need to live well. We're convinced it isn't possible to recognize only the rights of human beings without causing an imbalance within Mother Earth. And so to guarantee human rights, it's necessary to recognize and defend the rights of Mother Earth and all beings within her. And there are existing cultures and practices and laws that do that. Here are the inherent rights of Mother Earth. Mother Earth and all her ecosystems and species have the following rights: the right to life and to exist, the right to be respected, the right to continue our vital cycles and processes free from human disruptions, the right to maintain their identity and integrity as distinct, self-regulating and interrelated beings, the right to water as a source of life, the right to clean air, the right to integral health, the right to habitat, the right to be free from contamination, pollution, and toxic and radioactive waste. We have the right to not have our genetic structures modified or disrupted in a manner that threatens our integrity or the vital and healthy functioning of our beings. We have the right to live free from torture or cruel treatment by human beings, and the right to play our roles in Mother Earth for her harmonious functioning. Last is the right to full and prompt restoration in the face of violations of the rights of this treaty caused in whole or in part by human activities. So let's do what we can to take care of our environment and respect living beings, and humans are included in that. Visit our website to learn more about DCI, and please consider donating to help us produce that documentary about Dorothy's life and legacy. And if you want to check out a couple of inspiring short videos on YouTube, I think that the links will be available in the chat box. One is about celebrating the rights of Mother Earth, and it features Greta Thunberg at the end of it. And the other one is about mountain biking through an indigenous lens, and it's really exciting and beautifully done. So stay well, stay home if you can. If you can't, just put that mask on, keep your gloves on, and keep your distance, and keep being kind. Remember, nobody's expendable, nobody is disposable. We can live together in peace, but only if we humans take responsibility for building sustainable community and restoring balance and health to our mothership. Get involved in the Ithaca Green New Deal, get engaged, and keep imagining the world and the relationships that we want for ourselves and for all our children. Thank you so much. What a wonderful day this has been. I'm so glad to have been a part of it.
Thank you, Laura. We
Definitely.
we really appreciate you leaving us with those words. I think it's something that went straight to my heart and hopefully a lot of other people's hearts out there. We're gonna keep it going. Next,
Sorry, keep it back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was very touching to me. I'm sorry.
yeah, and I know this next one is going to be just as good.
Yes.
We have Don Montagne from Way to Go. Don Montagne works with a team of 4 others and different local partners like PCAT, Gadabout, and Ithaca Car Share to help people get the transportation they need if they don't have access to any, and also to help bring a fun, green transportation choices to Ithaca and Tompkins County. Don, what you got?
Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for the event. It's fantastic. It's still going. Hopefully people are still hanging with us. I've got a PowerPoint that I want to share. So first of all, happy 50th year anniversary for Earth Day. It's kind of an interesting time that we find ourselves in. And I'm going to directly relate transportation to the context of COVID-19. The news about transportation is typically one where transportation, both commercial and personal combined, is one of the largest emitters of greenhouse gases. That's the case in New York State, that's the case in the US, and that's the case around the world. So transportation is usually a huge problem in terms of climate change. And there are a lot of innovations that are happening, but it's a nut we have not been able to crack very well. Now, with halts in transportation from COVID-19 pandemic, it's contributed to improvements in air quality in ways that have not been seen in years. And a large part of that is because people are staying home. The roads around the world look like you might see here in the bottom left, with this outside of Los Angeles. And the results have been incredible. It's the kind of air quality that we want to see all the time. So the top left, you're looking at Delhi in India. Top right, you're looking at New York City. Bottom left, you're looking at Los Angeles. And these are all before and after pictures, but usually taken about a year ago from this time that we're in now to where we are right now at this time with clear blue skies. Now, a global pandemic is not a sustainable model at all. And it's not to say that there haven't been huge impacts to transportation and the economics of transportation. And of course, people are suffering. So this is not something that we want to maintain, but what we want to do is try to learn lessons and bring that into transportation. Because a result of this is that you find that governments around the world and transportation providers are being really innovative and really collaborative. And I would say that that goes for Ithaca and Tompkins County as well. But I just want to give you some examples. So for example, school buses are being used to transport meals to students. And we are doing that here in the Ithaca City School District and around the county. In Detroit, they're encouraging people to use bicycles and scooters to fill gaps where transit might be temporarily paused. In Buenos Aires, avoid close contact with others and to leave more space for those that have no other choice to travel, they're encouraging biking. Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York City, encouraging people to bike to work. Roads are being shut down in Chicago, Paris, Denver, Portland, and Chicago. Oh, sorry, I said Chicago twice, to make way for bicycles more on the street. And also what we call on-demand travel. So instead of buses that run on fixed routes, in many cities now, you can use your cell phone and services to call buses on demand. And usually these are for healthcare workers, emergency workers. So technology that might have been on the back burner or technology that's just being tested is now being rolled out on a larger scale. And what this means is that there are huge opportunities for transportation going forward and innovative and sustainable transportation. So I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in Ithaca and Tompkins County. There were a number of ways that transportation was getting involved in sustainability efforts before the current pandemic crisis that we're in. So line bikes had come to the streets in Ithaca and Trumansburg, Watkins Glen, among others. TCAT, which usually takes seniors and those with disabilities, was figuring out new ways with new technology to bring people to bus stops. Volunteer drivers were working with 9 organizations to take people who didn't have transportation to medical appointments or to see friends and relatives. Ithaca Car Share is a way that you don't have to own a car, but you can use a car when you need it to become a member. And of course, TCAT, which is our transit and the backbone of our transportation, partners with all these other transportation services. And then you'll see this ASAP Cab, which is one of a number of cab companies that we have operating here in Ithaca. One of the interesting things that's happened with COVID-19 is that these services are changing in a way what they're doing. So TCAT has reduced its services, but you find that Gadabout is now doing food delivery. Ithaca Car Share is making those cars available for people who want to volunteer to deliver food or deliver other goods and services. ASAP Cab Company have fit a couple of their cabs, so they're taking people to testing sites free of charge. So many volunteers have come forward to drive vehicles. And so the question is, what kind of strategies can we then bring into the future? And one potential takeaway from the pandemic can be that we have a greater appreciation for how the various transportation services are offered, how we can work together, how we can complement each other. Oftentimes when Earth Day comes around and we talk about transportation, we see things such as this, really cool, like the white vehicle there is a flying taxi, or very, very tiny cars, or new kinds of transit. And it's to say, can we couple this with some of the innovative things using resources that we have right here in our community? So one of our partners, as well as ourselves, wanted to say thank you and happy Earth Day. This is Ithaca Car Share team. Wanted to say thank you to our transportation partners and also the workers that are right now keeping things going, getting people and getting supplies and getting food where it needs to get to. And also a thank you from Way to Go and for everybody listening and participating today.
Thank you, Dawn, and Way to Go. I love TCAT. There is a route I used to be on where you would have to call the bus to let them know that you were there and they would come. So, hey, I'm all about sustainable transportation. And actually, she met me. I met her at a bus stop. I was at a bus stop, and so TCAT brought us together as well.
Y'all gotta watch our show on the 25th to figure out what happened.
All right. This is what happens when you have 24-hour Earth Day events. So next up, we have Ingrid Zabel and Alexander Moore from PRI and the Museum of Earth. They have a video to show, but the Paleontological Research Institution, its Museum of the Earth, and the Cayuga Nature Center have worked to educate our community about climate change for the last 2 decades. And they're going to give us a little bit more in this video.
Hey, welcome to the greenhouse. I'm Alex. Let's talk about the greenhouse effect. A greenhouse like this one is warmed by the sun. The sunlight shines through the plexiglass roof and walls, and it warms up the interior of the greenhouse. Sunlight is mostly in the visible part of the spectrum. Energy or light is classified by its wavelength. So visible light has pretty short wavelengths. Other kinds of energy have different wavelengths. Ultraviolet is super short, infrared is pretty long, up to about 1 millimeter. These different kinds of energy behave differently when they interact with things in their environment. So the visible light passes right through the plexiglass. And that's why you can see me if I shut the door. You're looking at the visible light that's reflecting off my body and passing right through the plexi. Now that visible energy from the sun comes through the plexi, it warms up the objects in the interior, and then they're radiating energy too. But because everything here has a much lower temperature than the surface of the sun, it radiates at much longer wavelengths. Everything here is radiating in the infrared. One of the reasons that the greenhouse stays warm is because the plexi absorbs the outgoing infrared. So the visible sunlight comes through, warms up the interior, and then the re-radiated infrared is absorbed by these walls. Now, I'm radiating energy in the infrared as well, but our eyes are tuned to see visible light. What if we could see in the infrared? Would we see all of us glowing? Yeah, let's take a look at that. If we have an infrared camera, we can observe the world in both visible and infrared light. Here's an IR camera that plugs right into a cell phone. So let's hook this up and take a look. Okay, now let's switch to infrared. This image is color-coded so that blues and purples indicate cooler objects, and orange, yellow, and even white indicate much warmer objects. Notice that my face is really warm, and so is everything else in the greenhouse. Now, let's close the door. Whoa, where did everything go? Let's do that again. The infrared energy is blocked by the door. It's absorbed by the plexiglass. And so it's going to take much longer for that IR eventually to escape from this greenhouse. Now, when we talk about the greenhouse effect in the context of global climate, this is what we mean. Most gases in the atmosphere allow visible light to pass through. The light's absorbed by the Earth's surface, and then it's re-radiated at long infrared wavelengths. Other gases in the atmosphere absorb this infrared energy, just like the glass in the greenhouse. Carbon dioxide and methane are both infrared absorbers, and in fact, we call them greenhouse gases. They absorb the outgoing infrared energy radiated by the Earth, and they keep the atmosphere warm. A small amount of greenhouse gases is good for us. It keeps the Earth warm enough for living things to thrive. But too much greenhouse gas warms the atmosphere more than our ecosystems and human communities can tolerate, and that begins to cause problems. And one of the reasons that these problems can be challenging to understand is because we can't see them. But fortunately, we can use some cool tools like our infrared camera to visualize the invisible and to understand it better. How cool is that?
That was good. Thank
Yes.
you for the video from the Paleontological Society. PRI. We'll go with PRI. All right. Up next is Erica Herman from Get Your GreenBack.
Erica Herman, energy educator with Get Your GreenBack Tompkins, will share information on 3 ways to go solar that works even for renters. So I want to hear this one. Right to you.
Hi, thank you. Thank you everyone for the wonderful introduction. I'm actually going to go ahead and share a screen and we'll get started. And bear with me, I'm showing my first time of closed captioning, so thank you for hanging in there with me. All right. Again, my name is Erica Herman, and I work with Get Your GreenBack Tompkins over at Cornell Cooperative Extension. You may have chimed in and listened to some of my coworkers a little earlier today, so let's hop right in. All right, so 3 ways to go solar. Did you know solar is a renewable form of energy? And we harness that via the use of solar panels to get this type of clean electricity. Gone are the days of really expensive solar, and now it's an inclusive and also accessible option for everybody. So we'll be looking at residential, otherwise known as on-site solar, and the various types of community solars overall. So we're going to start talking a little bit about on-site solar. This isn't just for people who are interested specifically in on-site. We're also going to do a bit of an overview about solar in general during this time. Now, all the types of solar power we're going to be chatting about mean that we're still connected to the grid, as we see in this image, meaning that we're still connected to our utility company. In our region, it's NYSEG. So if we look at this house right here, we see that the panels are right on the roof, or it could be off on the land over here. The energy from the panels is actually feeding right into the home, and any extra energy is getting fed, as we said before, right into that grid for later use. So isn't that still rather expensive? Well, you might actually be surprised. So between a couple different options, it might actually bring the price down quite a bit. Here we have the state incentive known as NYSERDA, which does a lot of energy programs for our state. This offers either a 35-cent or 70 cents if you're income eligible for each watt. A watt is a way of measuring solar for when we get that on our home or through other avenues. You might also be able to take advantage of the federal and/or New York State tax credit. So in this scenario, we won't go too in depth. We see that the initial cost for this example is about $15,000, and the person who was able to take advantage of all the incentives brought it more than halfway down, a little over $6,000. Not bad. Now, wait a second. What are some other options? I rent, or I don't really want on-site solar. Or maybe my house just has a lot of trees around it, and that's just not going to work. Well, community subscription solar is a great option. I actually am a renter, and that's what I do. The panels are actually not located on your house. Nothing's on your house, actually. It's located on a lovely solar farm out in an area with great south-facing views to get the most sunshine possible. You don't own the panels, you subscribe to them. There's actually no cost to sign up and no cost to participate whatsoever. Again, great for renters and such. It does work with budget billing, which is a great added plus. Now, how does that work? Well, once a month, I get my NYSEG bill. I pay my $15 to be connected to the grid, and I also pay for my taxes, surcharges, etc. A couple weeks later, I get a separate bill for my solar farm showing the credits that I created that month and the ones that I used. The ones that I use, I actually only pay at a 10% discount versus the NYSEG's rate. So NYSEG's at about 10 cents. That means I pay about 9 cents per kilowatt hour. That's the unit of measurement for electricity. So great, I get to save a couple bucks a month. If I change and switch to heating with electric, I save buku dollars. So great overall, and it's super easy to do. You can even do it right from your computer or your phone. So what is solar for all? Solar for all is a version of subscription solar. Again, nothing's on your property. The panels, again, are on a solar farm out in a great area. This program is a state program available for low-income households. So you receive about $10 a month in energy from the solar farm in New York State. And that money comes right off your bill, just like HEAP or some other programs that you might already be taking part in. Again, it's great. The nice thing with Solar for All is you get one bill only, and you still maintain your relationship with NYSEG or your utility company, but you don't have to do any of the work after you apply and are approved, which is awesome. Now, sometimes you'll get more off in the sunny months, like in the summertime, and a little less in the winter, but it averages out to about $10. Last but not least, we have our last type of solar, which is another version of community solar called purchase solar. Again, panels aren't on your property, but you actually own these panels. So in some ways, you're a little glued to them in not a strict sense, but you do own them. This is a great option for people who want to do on-site solar, but it might not be a fit, or maybe you're renting for a very long term. You can additionally still take in the NYSERDA state incentive of the 35 or 70 cents, and you can look into seeing if the federal tax credit is available to you. The watts are actually cheaper than on-site solar because of economy of scale. Think about when you do bulk purchases, it's cheaper than buying one single item at a time. Same deal. So what should I do next? Well, hopefully you're jazzed like I am and have lots of questions. So I hope to hear from you soon. I'm going to shut this right off. So I would love to see you. Have a wonderful day. You can reach out at our extension number, 607-272-2292, extension 262, and I'd be happy to chat with you. Might have a weird Google Voice number to call you back on, but a lot of these options are still viable to do, even when you're sitting right at home. So thank you very much, folks. Again, Erica Herman.
Thank you, Erica. I really appreciate that, and I'm interested in saving buku bucks. I want to save buku bucks on my energy, and actually, I also enjoyed the closed captioning. If you could put a link in the chat on the software you use to do that, I think a lot of people will find that helpful. Up next, we have Susan Holland from Historic Ithaca and Significant Elements. They have a video for us.
Significant Elements, an architectural salvage store. Celebrates 20 years of taking donations of salvage and
selling building house parts, keeping demolition waste from landfills. Susan Holland, Historic Ithaca Executive Director, now tells us how Significant Elements is sustainable and good for the environment.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Significant Elements on Earth Day 2020. I'm Susan Holland. I'm the director of Historic Ithaca, which is the parent company of Significant Elements, and we are an architectural salvage store located at 212 Center Street in Ithaca, and we have a large virtual presence. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we have a website, and I'll show you those after when we get done. And we've also been in business since 1991. We have staff here, Sarah, who's doing the filming. You'll see her in a minute. And Robert are here. And yes, we are physical distances. We don't like to say social distancing because that means that we would be not connected in some way, and we're certainly connected. So being an architectural salvage retail store, we are anti-pollution and waste diversion, which is a huge part of the environment and to keep things out of our landfills. Our landfills are filled with construction debris and more than solid waste, which I think we're getting, municipal solid waste, I think we're getting our handle on that, but probably not construction debris. So think about it, every time a building comes down or someone's renovating, there's a lot of architectural salvage and elements that come out of those buildings. We end up selling it back to the homeowner, the artist, to reuse and repair their own homes. Ithaca has a large, well, Tompkins County really has a large amount of built houses built before, say, 1930. And if you look around, you look in the neighborhoods. So we're out there replacing those things. And preservation is an extremely sustainable discipline. A lot of people don't really equate it with that, but I can tell you everything in our history was made to be repaired. And going through this pandemic, it's pretty obvious that we're going back to some of our old ways, and that's where we fit in. This is our hardware aisle. Everything is marked, and our staff, our knowledgeable staff, knows everything about it, but this is not a sales pitch. This is to show you some things that you can do with salvage. So I'm not the creative type at all. I can visualize things, but I really can't make things work. You can make jewelry out of some of this. Imagine wearing a gigantic piece of hardware as a piece of jewelry walking down the street. So I'm standing in front of some of our beautiful things, but I was thinking about it. Of course, when we're home, we're watching a lot of TV and things, but guess what we have? We have a lot of that cool stuff that you see on Hometown on HGTV. Yes, I do watch it. I also yell at my TV like it's a sporting event. I also think in Fixer Upper with Chip and Joanna, which is very popular, but these are the kinds of stores that they shop in. And again, they're reusing materials. It makes me very happy when I'm watching those shows to see people reusing, and of course, American Pickers, although they'd like to come in and they'd like a deal. We don't deal that way, but we will have a discount. So stay tuned till the end and we'll tell you what the discount. So how can you reach us? Facebook? significantelements.org, very easy. Make sure you put the S in. Insta or IG, which I don't know what that means, but I guess it's Instagram, I've been told. I'm too old for that. Significant Elements Salvage, so don't forget the salvage there. And our website is www.significantelements.org, or you can call us at 607-277-3450, and we hope to see you. And if you have any questions about your old house or your repair needs, please let us know. And please keep reading. Mention Earth Day, this Earth Day video, and you'll get 20% off here whenever you call. So please make sure you mention it, and have a happy Earth Day 2020.
So up next, we have Jessica Swindon from Sustainable Tompkins. Jessica Swindon is on the board of Sustainable Tompkins. If you don't know what Sustainable Tompkins is, it is a citizen-based organization whose work fosters equitable and sustainable projects throughout the Finger Lakes region. Thank you. Here you go.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm going to have a slideshow for you. Let me just share my screen. All right, great. So thanks for sticking with us through today. In my talk, I'm going to go over the Sustainable Finger Lakes website, and also together we're going to try to answer some of these larger questions coming out of this crisis relating to what the next steps in the regional sustainability movement are. So the few things I want to show you about the Sustainable Tompkins website. If you got your browser up, might as well just type it in right now, sustainablefingerlakes.org. It should also be in the chat boxes. And the few things I want to show you on this are we have local and regional news and calls to action that we're constantly updating to get involved. And then another aspect I really want to show you is our Sustainable Finger Lakes map. Now, this website is less than a year old, and we've spent a lot of time putting businesses and organizations on the map. So we have about 700 right now. And so I just want to kind of show you, this is what the map looks like. And then you can choose by county, and you can choose like a category that you want to get into. And so I'm just going to show you a quick example. I typed in Tompkins County here on the upper left-hand corner, and I chose energy and climate, and we even have these subcategories here. And this will bring up all of the businesses and organizations registered with us that in one way or another are leading us in sustainability. And so if you end up getting on here and you don't see a particular business or organization that you think should be on here, please get in touch with us. We'll have an email address at the end of the presentation that you can take down. And like I said, this is a work in progress, and we'd love to just keep adding to it as we go on. And so another thing Sustainable Finger Lakes and Sustainable Tompkins is doing is really trying to answer some of the big questions around the sustainability movement. So for example, how is the pandemic connected to instabilities in the existing system? And where are the opportunities to get citizens and policymakers to think about sustainability solutions and systems change? And so we're going to call on you now to answer some questions for us. We have a SurveyMonkey poll. It's a one-page poll. The link should be up in the chat groups. If not, you can quickly type in the link at the bottom of the slides. And so we're really just looking to get your response to 3 of these poll questions today. We will share the results of this poll on our social media pages, which you will see the links to at the end of the presentation. And so the first poll question that we want to answer today, I know where to find resources and other people to help me take action on the sustainability issues that I care about. Yes or no? And then we'll move on to the second question here. Poll question number 2. My role in the regional sustainability movement is, and please choose one. And then our poll question number 3. What are the top 2 areas that our community needs to focus on as we come out of this quarantine? And as you're looking through the list, I know it might be difficult to choose 1 or 2 to even focus on, but just choose whatever ones you really care about. That's what we want to know. And if you're on the poll, you'll notice that there is actually a few more questions. And that's because we came up with kind of these deeper thinking questions, these meatier questions, we like to say, that are really things that, you really shouldn't necessarily have an answer to right now. And we really want you to sit with them and think about them throughout the next few weeks, months, and even the next few years. And so don't feel like you have to answer those on the survey. We just put them on the survey so that you would have access to them outside of the presentation. And there's also a Google document that is posted, I think, on both chats as well. Gay Nicholson is posting things for me. And there's a Google document that lists all 5 of these questions. Look at them at a later time. And so the last thing I want to talk about today is our Sustainable Finger Lakes video series. We're going to be interviewing some community members and local leaders for about a 60 to 90 second video, asking them the question, what are the next steps for our community to transition towards a more just, equitable, and sustainable future? And so I think the key word there is next steps. If you or someone you know may be a good candidate for this quick 60 to 90 second response to this question, we plan to post these videos on our social media pages and on our website. And so please feel free to email us any questions you've had throughout the talk. If you want to add some businesses onto the map, anything like that, at info@sustainabletompkins.org. Okay, and here's our social media links. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think next up we have Jennifer Carias from the U.S. Census.
Jennifer Carias is the local Census Bureau representative in Tompkins County. I can't wait to hear what she's going to have to say.
It's going to be about county.
Yes, I know.
Jennifer?
Great. Thank you all for this great community event. Thanks for the introduction. And yes, I am local. I'm a partnership specialist, which means I work with partners, which is anyone who's an organization that wants to help out with this amazing national mobilization called the U.S. Census, the Decennial Census, one of 130 ongoing census surveys going on all the time. So we're always dealing with data and outreach, and I want you all to understand how this pertains to equity and environment, and what you might think to do to be a part of this mobilization and to participate in helping people who are hard to count to come out and do that online, on phone, on paper, or with someone coming along at their door maybe one day post-COVID. And I'm going to throw up a link real quick, and I know this is a 5-minute presentation, so I'm just going to throw up a link about census and data. You can look at it. I mean, this basically is just saying some of the basic points that I give in a presentation, but that the census is about equity because it determines congressional representation. So that if we have less representatives, we have less equity. So that having an accurate and total count is important to equity. But it also informs billions of dollars in federal funding that will come down to Tompkins County. If we don't get it done, this is going to impact us for years to come. Federal programs, and I'm just going to talk a tiny bit about that, will, it will get allocated, given out according to how well we count, and instill in people that confidence that they're safe to be counted, that this is a good process. I personally am sworn to law to not reveal, sworn by oath to not reveal anyone's personal identity, and I could go to jail for up to 5 years and have super high fines. As an example, as the agency is legally mandated since 1790 to do this, and people are mandated to take it as well. It's not a policing agency, but that's just a little background. And so we're just collecting for the census basic name, age, sex, race for everybody, if it's houses, rented, owned. A lot of it's about population count, 330 million, and also 140 million building housing units information. So we need this as a benchmark for all data and the things I mentioned already, this picture of our nation and how important that data is to things like environment. For instance, state funding for nature, wilderness, preservation. I think I would name a couple of different programs that might help you figure out why that's so important. But did you know that the census affects planning and funding for infrastructure, programs for highway planning and construction, for Section 8 housing, public transport, federal transit, community development, block grant funds, rural water and waste disposal, planning to prevent fires, and helping with dislocated workers and American Indian, Alaskan Native employment and training. Why your questions matter. This is all from 2020census.gov. If you go to 2020census.gov, you can just right on the homepage start your survey with or without an invitation from postal mail and a census ID. You can just go ahead, take the survey, make sure you include everyone in your household to take the survey. When you go in there and take the survey, you could do it by address, not just by code, but address. So here's another link about community impact. I was talking about those things. $675 billion to all these programs: education, housing, health facilities, transportation, emergency services, food assistance, and more. And think of grants for buses and subways, and think of Head Start, and think of special education and housing assistance, and restoring wildlife and preventing child abuse. So for empowerment. So those are my plugs, and I hope that you feel like you're a little closer to the process and that you might want to partner with me. You reach out to me, and I'll plug in a phone number at the end of the presentation in my chat. Just text me, call me. It's my work phone. I'm a local organizer too. I'm a democracy advocate on the side. That's a little aside.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. We're having a great Earth Day. We hope you folks are having a great Earth Day. And you know what? We're about to make their Earth Day just a little greater. Yes, coming up next, the guy who's going to make it a little greater is Hector Chang from Bike Walk Tompkins.
Hector is the active transportation coordinator from Bike Walk Tompkins. Can't wait to hear what he has to say.
Here you go, Hector.
Thanks, Kenneth. And also Elbonee. Nice. So I'm Hector. I'm the active transportation coordinator at Bike Walk Tompkins. We're the active transportation advocacy group here in Ithaca. You might know us better as the people behind Streets Alive, which is now 9 years coming this Sunday. Unfortunately, that's really not possible at the moment, but we're working on something to bring some of the magic of Streets Alive online. Wait till the very end of this presentation for me for that a little bit. At Bike Walk Tompkins, we have also started teaching people how to ride bikes, both adults and children. You see on the left a bunch of women who are one of the biggest users of our Learn to Ride classes, and also cute kids at BJM learning to ride a bike for the first time. And lastly, we work to expand access to bicycling to more people. For instance, we help the city bring bike share to Ithaca with the help of Lime Bike. And also we do programming in underserved communities with our Ithaca Bike Champions program. Here you see on the right, someone in the GX Seniors program learning, trying out one of our adapted bikes. At all these events I mentioned, what we do is really learn the barriers people face when they want to get started with bicycling. And we take all those anecdotes and stories and we match them up with real hard data from a lot of randomized surveys that we do, a lot of research that we do, and also bike share use data that you see right here, where people are going to and from Ithaca using Lime bikes. From all this data and census data as well, we know that bicycling helps improve health outcomes, enable a more equitable transportation system, and it's also just plain fun. But also we see a big opportunity to really reduce the environmental impact of our transportation system. Recently, we've learned that 43% of all car trips in Tompkins County took less than 3 miles, like a very short distance. But only few people are bicycling, so around 3%. We know that there's more people bicycling for things that are not going to work. That 3% is about the commute to work. But we actually see more opportunity in the number of people that want to get started with bicycling or bicycling more often. 55% of people answered as such in a recent survey that we did in 2018. What we do is bring all those insights, data, and lived experiences to our decision makers, our elected leaders, municipal staff, and other stakeholders to sketch out what the future of bicycling could look like here in Ithaca. And what's come clear to us and to everyone that we've engaged with so far is that we need a community-wide approach to give people from all walks of life the ability, safety, and comfort to bike for more of their daily trips. That's what we're going to try to do by putting all these ideas together in a plan we call Bicycling for Everyone. Bicycling for Everyone will be an action plan that we hope will help build an Ithaca where moving around sustainably is the obvious choice for people of all ages, backgrounds, and abilities. To do that, we'll be proposing a handful of key actions in each of these 7 categories that you see, which directly impact how likely people are to start bicycling for their daily trips. In particular, our action plan is going to focus on addressing the safety and comfort of people bicycling on the road as they get to everyday destinations like the grocery store, parks and recreation, community centers, schools, etc., by proposing infrastructure improvements that will build a safe and comfortable core bicycle network, not just within the city of Ithaca, but throughout the rest. Every single place that you might want to go to in urban and suburban parts of our county. I hope you'll join us for our online reveal coming soon, sometime in May 2020. We're working really hard to pivot from what was originally an in-person happy hour type thing. We're moving as much of it as possible to an online thing. Feel free to RSVP online at bikewalktompkins.org/everyone. And the last thing I wanted to mention is how are we bringing a little bit of magic from Streets of Life? We're doing a Zoom happy hour tomorrow live with the Lighted Bite sculpture maker behind this amazing bicycle caterpillar. Tomorrow, April 23rd at 5 p.m. Find the link at buywhattompkins.org, and he might even sing us a little song or something like that. So that's it for me. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Hector. That was really nice. Yeah.
Actually, it was. I enjoyed it.
That's
And
how he met me. I'm riding a bike.
she was riding the bike.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, I was riding.
she was riding the
I
bike.
really like riding.
She liked riding bike. She had one downstairs in the living room.
Then I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna ride it.
In the living room.
No,
So-
I'm not. I'm gonna ride it outside. Fast park. Here I come.
So next up, we have Kiana Mosey and Rakim Jones from the Ultimate Reentry Opportunity.
Two staff members from the Ultimate Reentry Opportunity, Kiana and Rakim, are here to introduce the newest program, Healthiest Transitions. Well, here you go.
Bam, Rakim.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction. And thank you so much for the Earth Day 2020 organizers for putting on this awesome event. So I am Kiana Mosey. I am the new program coordinator for Healthful Transitions. And also Rakim Jones is also here. He's our program assistant. He gave a wonderful, powerful performance earlier during the program. So I'm gonna, for the most part, take the lead on this one with his support. So thank you for that, Rock.
There it is.
I do have a presentation here. Here we go. All right, so I'm very excited to share about Healthful Transitions and the work that we are doing. Healthful Transitions is a program of URO. For those of you that don't know, URO is the Ultimate Reentry Opportunity. And URO aims to reduce systemic barriers to reentry and also to prevent recidivism so that when folks, come back to our community after being incarcerated, they can remain in our community and be successful. We do this work with the support of the community and a number of amazing organizations. Excuse me. And there are a few different working groups and areas of focus at the moment. One is employment accessibility through the Beyond the Box working group. Another is data development and research, so we know exactly what barriers we need to face. And then also there's criminal justice reform. Many of you may know Tylee Mugambe, who is our program director for URO. So just want to take a look here. So through the research that we've done, we know that there are many pieces and parts involved in helping someone to successfully re-enter a community. We know, for example, that almost 70% of folks who are incarcerated have substance abuse disorders. So treatment is imperative as soon as they're released. Transportation to that treatment is imperative. We know homelessness is a huge issue. So housing is very important. At the end of the day, there are hundreds of thousands of folks that return to their communities each year after being incarcerated. So really, it's a community issue and concern that we should all really be thinking about. So about a year ago here in Ithaca, there were a few groups of faith groups and religious interfaith groups who got together and started reading The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. And from that came a series of different meetings and discussions and questions of, what's next? What can we do here in Tompkins County? So from that was born the interfaith-based reentry support team. And that is who the Healthful Transition program supports. So basically, the program supports URO's goals by cultivating a compassionate and committed network of community volunteers. which again is the interfaith-based reentry team. So the work that the reentry team does is basically begins, we target every process, every area of the reentry process, let's say. So pre-release, we are going to have volunteers that are going to be going into jails and prisons within a 60-mile radius to do motivational interviewing and goal setting workshops so that folks can have a plan for success in place before they return to our community. At release, we hope that we can provide transportation assistance and also train our volunteers to be very knowledgeable in what community resources are out there so that folks are easily directed on where to go to receive help. And then lastly, in the community, we hope to do bi-weekly meals. And with that, we hope to just offer ongoing support to folks, but also we hope to eventually have those bi-weekly meals be able to replace a probation check-in so that, that kind of limits some of that interaction there, and we can have a more community supported way of checking in with folks and making sure that they're, having a healthy transition. So in order to do this, we'd want to equip our volunteers with a number of trainings and just ongoing support so that they can they have the tools they need to help others. So as far as getting involved, one way is definitely to volunteer. My contact info is on the next page, so you'll be able to see that. Also, donations are always helpful. Dealing with the COVID-19 crisis, there are many folks who've recently just re-entered our community and who are experiencing homelessness and, are in need of food and a lot of different resources. So I believe the Facebook chat has the information on how you can help with that initiative. And then lastly, you can help in your own way by just being a compassionate neighbor and just caring for people in your community. So thank you so much for your time. I know I kind of ran through that because I wanted to make sure I got everything out, but please reach out. And thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you.
Kiana, Rakim, thank you very much.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thanks.
We appreciate the work that you're doing in the community as well as the information that you're sharing. We are almost done. Up next is Melissa Rookledge, part of the Odyssey Choir. They have a video, and the Odyssey Choir is directed by Melissa and is a part of the Opus Ithaca School of Music. So let's see what they have for us, and we'll see you back in a second.
Hello, my name is Melissa Rookledge, and I am the director of the Odyssey Choir at Opus Ithaca School of Music. The choir consists of youth and adult ensembles, and we have about 60 members total. We are excited to be a part of the Tompkins Earth Day event, and here are some of our members performing Peace Round and Connected. We hope you enjoy and wish you well.
What a goodly thing if the children of the world could live together in peace. What a goodly thing if the children of the world could live together. If the children together, 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 if the children of the world could live together in peace.
I-M-U-R-E. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you,
You are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
Hey! Oh, I think that was a great way for to finish out today. I want to thank everybody out there in Facebook Live, everybody out there who's joining us on Zoom. Thank you for being a part of Tompkins County Earth Day 2020, Virtual Earth Day, also the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. It's about connecting sustainability, equity, community, and each other. So we really want to, glad you folks are coming out. And before we leave, I want to thank the organizers. I want to thank Tammy Butler. I want to thank Anka, the other co-hosts. I want to thank Rebecca Evans, Kirby Edmonds, Kimberly Anderson, and Karim Beers. These folks worked hard to put this event together and have been on this call since 1 o'clock today. I think it must be sort of some Zoom world record. We want to thank them for doing this for the community. We want to thank you folks for coming out, and want to thank SingTrece. Anything you have to say?
I just want to say thank you. Keep listening to music. It brings us together. Everybody that was able to speak today, they all gave a message. We take that to heart. Please share this with people so that the word can get around about Earth Day, so people can learn more. So stand by me. Want to do stand by me and then
go ahead.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. Y'all know it, come on. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So you watch me sing with me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Hey, oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me on Earth Day.
Thank you very much. I'm Kenneth McLaurin.
And I'm SingTrece.
Together we're Singing Notes and Slinging Jokes. And we will be we'll be online doing a live show Saturday the 25th, 9 p.m. Check us out.
Yes.
Get Your GreenBack on Facebook. Thank you very much. You folks have a great day. We're out.
And hugs.